Let's do this. This is fun.
12?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Charlie Kirk tweeted this out, which leads me to believe that this is one of the Charlie Kirk projects. You know, Charlie Kirk, he's now, how old is this guy?
It's got to be like 33 at least.
He's the world's oldest college student. But
30 going on 19.
He's actually the world's oldest
30.
Pre-college freshman because I think he dropped out of college.
He decided not to go to college because I think what's the guy's name? Some funder basically said, "Hey, do propaganda for me instead."
Yeah.
Foster
Freeze. Yeah.
Was it Foster
It
Freeze?
was Foster
Are you
Freeze.
sure?
Yeah,
I'm not
pretty
sure about that. But it was a different. I think it was a different billionaire that he.
But you're right, Bill Montgomery.
It was Bill Montgomery, and Bill Montgomery, of course, passed, and then
coronavirus.
Yes, and Charlie Kirk, of course, was key in getting Carrie Lake elected in Arizona.
Senator Carrie Lake?
Yes.
Oh, wait. Well, no. Now she's a senator, governor, right? Now she's on for round 2.
When she wins the Senate, she's going to have to renounce her governorship unless she wants
Charlie
to
Kirk
It's hard to be governor and senator at the same time.
Instrumental in making sure that Carrie Lake won the youth vote in Arizona.
Yeah, got a lot of attention.
And
to lose.
Yeah.
And I say that, yes, you don't need to correct me. I know that actually Arizona, the youth vote went against Trump and Carrie Lake more than in any other place.
And that was his central focus, Arizona.
That was his central focus. So he messed that up.
Also, Foster Freeze was in there early with donations as well.
There you go. But there's a new idea that's floating around, and this is so close, ladies and gentlemen. But I like the idea of taxation to provide free education. Now, in this instance, it's really more taxation to provide a fake education. But Donald Trump is here sort of like offering a Trump University meets Prager University, but for free.
In recent weeks, Americans have been horrified to see students and faculty at Harvard and other once respected universities expressing support for the savages and jihadists who attacked Israel. We spend more money on higher education than any other country, and yet they're turning our students into communists and terrorists and sympathizers of many, many different dimensions. We can't let this happen. It's time to offer something dramatically different.
I'll tell you something. My kid has been in college now for 2 months, starting in September, actually late August. And she came back for a weekend, and it was like, she was so supportive of so many different dimensions.
Sympathizing with 8 different dimensions at the exact same time.
I'm in favor of the 4th dimension and the 3rd dimension. Also, the Dimensions, that group that came out of the Motor City, Motown, the Dimensions.
Her eyes rolled in the back of her head. She's like, another dimension I'm in touch with.
It's so many dimensions.
And you caught her just writing "Death to America" over and over again in her notes.
That's true.
Yeah. The indoctrination works so quickly.
But I love how the idea of a whole idea of a free education is not a function of providing education, but to make sure that people aren't becoming communists.
And terrorists.
And jihadists who attacked Israel. We spend more money on higher education than any other country, and yet they're turning our students into communists and terrorists and sympathizers of many, many different dimensions. We can't let this happen. It's time to offer something dramatically different. Under the plan I'm announcing today, we will take the billions and billions of dollars that we will collect by taxing, fining, and suing excessively large private university endowments, and we will then use that money to endow a new institution called the American Academy. Its mission will be to make a truly world-class education available to every American, free of charge, and do it without adding a single dime to the federal debt. This institution will gather an entire universe of the highest quality educational content covering the full spectrum of human knowledge and skills, and make that material available to every American citizen online for free. Whether you want lectures or ancient histories or an introduction to financial accounting or training in a skilled trade.
Pause it for 1 second. Now, there is reason to be skeptical of Donald Trump offering a course in financial accounting.
Oh, yeah.
There should be a little bit of an asterisk there. May not be applicable to New York State. That's the one thing that you may not want to, your financial accounting degree may not be applicable to New York State based upon what's going on in a
Or you just take
courtroom.
the course and remember opposite every time you hear the class. Yeah.
Don't do this.
All my favorite
Learn
colleges.
from my mistakes.
I love how all my favorite colleges, they talk about the educational content they provide online.
So much content. So much.
All right, go back just a little bit.
For free. Whether you want lectures or ancient histories or an introduction to financial accounting.
All right, pause
or
it for 1
training
second.
in-
I'm sorry. Just so that you know, lectures is the way that this information is communicated in some instances. It's not a course in and of itself.
Whether you want lectures and then the other subjects.
Lectures or ancient history or financial accounting.
I got my homework for intro to lectures.
We're learning and I didn't know this, but you can do a 15-minute lecture or you can do a 30-minute lecture.
Cicero, a lot of people say he did the first lecture.
You can do any length of lecture. And next week, we're studying how many people need to be listening for it to be a lecture.
You can tell Trump really paid attention at Penn.
Let's go.
Every American citizen online for free. Whether you want lectures or ancient histories or an introduction to financial accounting or training in a skilled trade, the goal will be to deliver it and get it done properly. Using study groups, mentors, industry partnerships, and the latest breakthrough in computing, this will be a truly top-tier education option for the people. It will be strictly non-political, and there will be no
Wait a
wokeness.
second. The latest breakthrough in computing will be using computers. This is, and we'll actually, the World Wide Web will also be using for this.
Quantum computing, how to do real estate fraud.
Go back a little bit. And God, they're doing this like off camera.
Sam's favorite shot.
This is it. It's as long as they're not doing filmmaking, this won't bother me.
Latest breakthrough in computing, this will be a truly top-tier education option for the people. It will be strictly non-political, and there will be no wokeness or jihadism allowed. None of that's going to be allowed. Most importantly, the American Academy will compete directly with
Pause
the
it, wait,
existing...
go back because they had to cut away. You know that it's just going like no wokeism, no jihadism. None of that's going to be allowed. No jihad 101 or
God.
Wokeism 101. No wokeism lectures.
Gosh,
None of that.
My jihadism degree from Lafayette is totally useless now,
I should not have
honestly.
They cut away from this because he was just like freestyling here. Go ahead.
Political, and there will be no wokeness or jihadism allowed. None of that's going to be allowed. Most importantly, the American Academy will compete directly with the existing and very costly four-year university system by granting students degree credentials that the U.S. government and all federal contractors
Yeah, they're gonna love that.
will henceforth recognize.
For
The
sure.
Academy will award the full and complete equivalent of a bachelor's degree. In
Sure.
addition, to help the 40 million Americans
I got
who
my
have some
bachelor's
college
degree in
education-
lecturism. I learned about lectures. So can I get a work for you federal contractor? Because if you have a lecture project, I would be your expert because that's what I got my bachelor's degree in lectures. Little bar quiz for you. How many people do you need to be watching for it to be a lecture? Take a guess.
I don't have a degree in lecture.
That is a trick question. Because you don't need anyone to see it. If you're giving a lecture, you can record a lecture just into a video camera or a computer.
Wow.
I love this idea that that whatever degree they let you print out after you watch a certain number of hours of real estate flipping videos, that bosses and that you apply for jobs are going to be, oh yeah, this is just as good as Stanford to me.
I mean, you love the idea. This was Trump's idea for Trump University. That he's just
I mean, to be honest with you,
national.
this is sort of what the private university system is.
Right.
And the only difference is, of course, this is free, so that's good. The private university systems, if you go onto their website and look at the data in terms of like how many jobs it gets you 2 years out, 5 years out, I mean, because that's presumably really what it's about.
Yeah.
You will see that the answer is not there. For some strange reason, these are very data-driven institutions, and they don't give you the one key piece of data that would justify their existence, because they're not there. Like, their mission is not to create, better citizens. Their mission is almost explicitly largely for African American women who are in the workforce, feel like they've hit a threshold in terms of what they can't get past without a degree. But it's unclear whether or not these actually end up helping. Anyways, back to Professor Trump.
The Academy will award the full and complete equivalent of a bachelor's degree. In addition, to help the 40 million Americans who have some college education but no degree, the American Academy will grant credit for past coursework at legacy institutions and give you the chance to complete your education at the American Academy for free and much more quickly than is now possible or available. This will be a revolution in higher education and will provide life-changing opportunities for tens of millions of our citizens. Enjoy it, learn from it, and thank you.
And thank you.
And thank you.
I mean, the thing I like about this is that there is an awareness that we need a free education option for every American in the country. Mm-hmm. And now,
preferably not one you can speed through by watching online videos and then get a printout degree.
Well,
but
yes.
I think we should have a conversation about what the most effective way of, not the most cost effective way necessarily, but the most effective way to educate people and give them a real a competitive education, not just in terms of jobs, but like competing with the other functions of the reason why we have higher education. And I love the idea that Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump and conservatives are coming around to the idea that we should be taxing. First of all, I like the idea of taxing endowments. And I would also even question, like, maybe there's also ways of like saying, like, if you get your endowment and you own this amount of property over a certain amount, then we start to actually, your tax-free status has a threshold. Let's put it that way. I think that's a great idea.
Right.
And I also think that we could also get a lot of money from some billionaires because it's not that expensive to provide free or near free college in every state in the country.
Yep. It was like the equivalent to one of the military budget increases under the Trump administration. You could pay for that on an annual basis. Like, in terms of programs implemented, look, Medicare for All, that's a much larger, more robust kind of program in terms of traditional modes of cost, right, for the federal government. It's very, very cheap for the federal government standards to do college for all. The problem is just like, I think there's a big portion of people in our government that don't want to even approach that because it's one of the biggest things for military recruitment.
Yes. And I would also add that I also appreciate the fact that they are showing us that it's a lie that people would be concerned about people having their loans paid off, their college loans paid off, because they'd resent the fact that they had to pay for the loans. Mm-hmm. Because think of all the people who have paid for college.
Yeah.
And if you're going to offer free college, what about all the people who paid for college?
Right.
Am I a sucker because I paid for college? because, now they're getting free college. And so they're also conceding that point, too. This is a good start.
Yeah.
They're not there yet,
Well,
but it's a good start.
The one thing we need to keep an eye on is that college doesn't be like accepted as what content is. Like college is, and school in general is a place where you go and it's because that's too atomized in an individual level. College and school is a place where you go and socialize around members of your community and meet a whole bunch of different people, and you get fed there, for instance.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to.
Well, you're in a community of learning.
Exactly.
And I think, look, I think we can have these debates about what the value of college is, and what the best way to communicate that is. I think educators would tell you, I think almost to a person, that really the best way to learn is to be immersed in it, in a community. But as long as we can all agree as a matter of public policy that free college is important, that it is not a slap in the face to people who've paid for college in the past, that we shouldn't have to go into debt, that some endowments should be taxable, certainly. And in fact, anybody hoarding that much money, it should be available for taxation. And really, when you're talking about going after an endowment, that's a wealth tax. You're not talking about, the revenue. It's a wealth tax. I gotta say, sold.
There you go.
And if people want, Thomas Piketty in the first book, Capital in the 21st Century, goes into those endowments and the spectacular amount of wealth that is in those. Yeah, they're giant pinatas that we can use to fund social democracy.
Love it. And no jihadists. No,
we can accept
communists.
terror camps be made with those funds.
Totally unwoke university, not woke you. That's what we call it. Not woke forest. I don't know.
All right.
I'm sorry about that, folks.
It's all right.
I really apologize. I shouldn't have.